Upliftinfaith, a place for the hearts that smile in public, but quietly break in private. Some people disappear slowly, not physically, emotionally, so silently that nobody notices until there is almost nothing left of them inside. She was one of those people. If you met her, you would probably call her kind, soft-spoken, understanding, easy to love. But what people called kindness was actually survival, because somewhere during childhood she learned that love became safer when she abandoned herself. She noticed it in small moments first, the way tension disappeared when she stayed quiet, the way people smiled more when she agreed with them, the way being useful made her feel accepted. So without realizing it, she began editing herself for comfort. At home, she became the daughter who never complained, the one who apologized quickly, the one who carried emotions that were never hers. And slowly, she became emotionally invisible, not because people hated her, but because everyone became used to her needing nothing. As she grew older, the performance became more exhausting. With friends, she became the listener, the safe place, the emotionally available one. People came to her when they were broken, and somehow she always knew the right thing to say. But after every conversation, she felt emptier, like pieces of her were being quietly borrowed by everyone around her. Still, she kept giving, because deep down she carried a fear she never spoke about. The fear that if she stopped being useful, people would stop loving her. So she adapted constantly, smaller in relationships, softer in arguments, quieter in pain. She learned how to swallow disappointment before it became conflict, swallow pain before it became inconvenience, swallow herself before anyone had the chance to reject her, and eventually she became so good at performing that even she forgot she was pretending. Years passed, and exhaustion stopped feeling temporary. It became her identity, not physical exhaustion, soul exhaustion, the kind that follows you into crowded rooms, the kind that makes laughter feel heavy, the kind that leaves you staring at ceilings at 2 in the morning, wondering why your life feels emotionally far away from you. People still called her kind, but nobody noticed how tired her eyes had become. Nobody noticed how long she sat in silence after coming home. Nobody noticed that she had started feeling lonely even around people who claimed to love her. One night she sat in a restaurant surrounded by friends. Everyone was laughing, talking loudly, sharing stories, but their voices sounded distant, like she was underwater watching life happen somewhere above her. And suddenly, she realized something painful. Nobody at that table actually knew her. Not deeply, they knew the version of her designed for comfort, the version that made life easier, the version that never asked for too much. But not her, not the exhausted soul constantly shape-shifting just to keep people close. And for the first time in her life, she understood that being needed and being loved were not the same thing. That realization followed her home. The apartment was dark, quiet, still. She stood in the middle of the room while city lights flickered softly through the window. Then, slowly, she walked toward the bathroom mirror, and something about her reflection disturbed her, not because she looked broken, but because she looked unfamiliar, like she had spent so many years becoming what everyone needed that she no longer recognized herself without an audience. And then a question rose inside her that changed everything. If I stopped giving, who would stay? Silence, real silence, the kind that forces truth into the room. And suddenly, She began to cry, not loudly, not dramatically, just quiet heartbreak. The kind that comes from meeting yourself honestly for the first time, because she realized something devastating. She had spent her whole life learning how to be loved by others without ever learning how to belong to herself. That night became the beginning of her rebirth. Not revenge, not becoming cold, just honesty. For the first time in years, she stopped performing. She stopped apologizing for needing rest, stopped explaining every boundary, stopped shrinking herself so people could remain comfortable around her. And almost immediately, people began reacting differently. Some called her distant, some called her selfish, some quietly disappeared once they could no longer feed on her constant emotional availability. And it hurt, but not enough to abandon herself again, because healing teaches you something survival never could. The people who only love the version of you that suffers for them do not actually love you. And slowly, she began meeting herself again, the real version, the one buried underneath years of emotional performance. She rediscovered silence without loneliness, rest without guilt, presence without pretending, and for the first time in her life, peace no longer felt temporary. One night she walked alone through the city while rain fell softly around her. Street lights reflected against the pavement. Cars passed. People moved around her. But this time, she was not adjusting herself to be accepted, not chasing validation, not editing her personality for survival, just existing, honestly. And somewhere between the silence, the rain, and the glow of the city lights, she realized something beautiful. The version of herself she was desperately searching for was never gone, only abandoned. And the moment she stopped begging the world to choose her, she finally chose herself. So if you see yourself inside this story, maybe this is your reminder. You're allowed to stop performing for love. You're allowed to become unfamiliar to people who benefited from your self-abandonment. And maybe healing is not becoming someone new. Maybe healing is finally returning to the person you were before survival taught you to disappear. If this message spoke to you, comment, "I will stop abandoning myself," and subscribe to Uplifting Faith for more cinematic stories that heal the silent parts of people.